All right, and we are back. This is NHL 20 Franchise Mode Calgary Flames, and this is Episode 8. Yes, welcome to our Franchise Mode here with the Calgary Flames. We return, and we are set to start off our first official off-season with the Calgary Flames at the helms of GM. And unfortunately, this is not the video we wanted to be starting our off-season. Of course, our season coming to an abrupt end there in the second round when we were swept by the Anaheim Ducks. Who else but the Anaheim Ducks to sweep us? There it is on the side screen right here. 0-4 against the Ducks in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs here in 2020, our first season with the Calgary Flames. And we sweep the Vancouver Canucks in round one. It was actually the third time in the last 15 years that the Calgary Flames met the Vancouver Canucks in the first round. They're arch rivals. They did it back in 2004 and, of course, in 2015. And then now they do it again for a third time in the last 15 years in 2020. And all 3 years, the Calgary Flames beat the Vancouver Canucks. I believe it was 7 games against the Canucks in 2004, 6 games, I believe it was, in Calgary against the Canucks in 2015, and then they swept the Canucks here in 2020 in the first round. So we have a lot of good luck against the Vancouver Canucks when it comes to the playoffs, and especially the first round in recent history. We just don't have a lot of luck against the Anaheim Ducks. Just like the Canucks, we have met the Anaheim Ducks 3 times in the last 15 years in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that being, of course, in 2015, 2017, and then, of course, here again in 2020. In 2015, we lost in 5 games. After we beat the Canucks, we played the Ducks just like this. Just like this year we did. We played the Canucks in the first round in 2015 and then the Ducks in the second round, and the exact same result. We just didn't get swept by the Canucks. We lost in 5. The Ducks, I should say. But we did beat the Canucks in the first round, lose to the Ducks in the second round in 5. This time we lose to the Ducks at 4. In 2017, we also played the Ducks. That time it was in the first round against Anaheim, and they swept us, much like they did this year. So the last 2 times we've played the Anaheim Ducks in the Stanley Cup playoffs, we've been swept by them. We have only won 1 playoff game against the Anaheim Ducks in the last 3 series, and obviously they have won 12 because they have won all 3 series. So 4 times 3, they've won 12, and we've only won once. So the last 3 meetings against the Anaheim Ducks, not as good. 1-12 is our record against Anaheim in the playoffs in the last 15 years, but we did beat the Vancouver Canucks the last 3 years. So kind of a tale of the tape. I thought that was kind of interesting how we always get Vancouver and Anaheim quite a bit in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I know 3 times in 15 years is not a lot, but you got to look at how many times the Flames made the playoffs in the last 15 years. Not a lot since 2004. Not a lot at all. So the fact that they've played Anaheim and Vancouver each 3 times, and the Flames having a lot of success against Vancouver, especially the fact that they all have come in the first round, but not a lot of luck against the Anaheim Ducks being swept twice. In fact, 2 times out of the last 3 playoff series, they've been swept. And like I said, we've only won once out of the last 3 playoff series, 1 single game. So obviously not good enough for the Calgary Flames. Again, welcome to episode number 8, I believe it is, NHL 20 Franchise Mode, as we start to construct our team here for the offseason. This is going to be an interesting episode. The next couple episodes here, episode 8, episode 9 as well. In this episode, we're going to obviously get up to the draft and into the re-signing phase. Episode 9 will probably get us into free agency. But between these next couple episodes, we're really going to be constructing our team here to obviously win a Stanley Cup, because that was our goal this year. We talked about episode 1, episode whatever, how we have a 3-year window, and now that one of these years are gone, we make it to the second round, but obviously not far enough. We only have a 2-year window now to work with, somewhat. We're going to review that again in these next couple episodes, but we obviously only have a 2-year window to work with. So let's sim here. I'm just going to start simming some weeks here, get us through the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I could sim right up to the draft, but we'll just let's just get right through the month of May. We'll look at who made it here in a second. Let's go right to June 1st, actually, and see what we're looking at for the Stanley Cup Finals, because we should have a good idea. Actually, there's the Stanley Cup Finals. I saw it on the right screen. Dallas has won the Stanley Cup. I forget who they were playing there. The Hershey Bears have won the Calgary Cup in the American Hockey League. So the Dallas Stars winning their first Stanley Cup since 1999. Yes, it's been just 21 long years for the Dallas Stars. A lot longer though for us, waiting since 1989, and a lot of other teams as well waiting for the Stanley Cup. So let's just take a quick look at how the playoffs ended for the NHL. Don't know what I was trying to get at there. But yeah, let's take a look here. So there it is. There's your official playoff tree. It was against the Washington Capitals. So the Caps make it back to the Stanley Cup playoffs for the second time in the last 3 years. This time, though, they do not win the Cup. They lose to the Dallas Stars. What an interesting finals that would be. Stars versus Caps in the finals. That's pretty... that'd be fun to watch. So yeah, you can see us there in the bottom left. Obviously, like I said, we swept the Canucks in 4. Then we get swept by the Ducks in 4 in round 2. The Ducks go on to lose in the Western Conference Final in 7 games to the Dallas Stars. The Stars get through Minnesota in round 1. They get through Colorado in round 2, going 5 games, 6 games, and then 7 games against the Ducks in the Western Conference Finals. They get to the Stanley Cup. The Caps go through the Pens there in round 1 in 6. They sweep the Flyers in 4 in the second round, and then they get by the Bruins in 7 games. So the President's Trophy winning and top team in the Boston Bruins, they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they lose in 7 to the Caps. So that's kind of what I thought maybe the Flames would do. Because we finished just a few points back of Boston in the entire NHL standings, and we obviously finished first in our conference and division, just like the Bruins did. So we were up there with Boston as one of the top teams. So I thought we would at least make it to the conference finals. And if we did make it to the conference finals, or even where we did make it to in the second round, I thought it'd be like 7 games. I thought that Anaheim-Calgary series would at least go 7 games. It did not. So that might be the biggest disappointment. Is not the fact that we didn't make it to the past the second round. It's the fact that we lost in 4 games, and the fact that we lost to obviously Anaheim in 4 games. So we'll have to put it behind us. Like I said, there's not much we can do. Obviously, I mean, it is what it is. We have such a bad history, like I said, with Anaheim in both the regular season and obviously Stanley Cup playoffs. They have had our number for the last however many years. It's insane. I've never seen a team dominate another team so much like that, but it is what it is. So there's not much we can do. So here's just a quick look at the draft lottery results. The Detroit Red Wings will draft first overall. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they draft second overall. They move up from 15. Holy cow, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And of course, you'll remember from a couple episodes ago, the Tampa Bay Lightning did miss the Stanley Cup playoffs. They just missed, as did the Toronto Maple Leafs. So a couple big misses. Actually, also in the West, I believe, was it St. Louis that missed? Another big team, Nashville. Nashville missed in the West as well. So there was quite a few teams. I think St. Louis also missed, though. Quite a few big teams in each conference that missed the playoffs. Tampa being one of them, and they actually luck out, by missing. They actually get to draft second overall. Columbus third there. You can see LA, Montreal fourth and fifth, and so on. Obviously, we are not on this list because our pick we traded away to the Montreal Canadiens. And I do not see, I don't see Montreal drafting twice. They draft obviously fifth there, moving down from third. That's their own pick, but I don't see our pick in the top 15 there. So, which it shouldn't be now that I think about it, because we did make it to the second round. So, central scouting, blah blah blah. We didn't do, we kind of did auto scouting this year, so it'll be interesting to see when we get to the draft here. What it is like. We actually have something new this year. It's the draft interviews. So I guess we can probably take a look at that. The thing is, we're not drafting in the first round at all. So I don't know how much these draft interviews are going to help. I guess they could help us for in the second round. So I guess we could do that. Let's sim up to that quickly. And then we got the draft itself on the 23rd there of June. And then the re-signing phase. So let's look at our retired players, see if there's anybody from our team or any other team. So first of all, let's just look at our team to see if anybody else made it. No, so nobody from the Calgary Flames retiring. I didn't expect so. I didn't think we had. I think our oldest player is Mark Giordano, and hopefully he sticks around for a little while. We obviously need him. So Henrik Zetterberg calling it a career in this game after 1,082 games. Also 1,022 games of Chris Kunitz as well. Martin Ehrap, Matt Molson, Ron Hainsey, Kyle Braziak, Thomas Gilbert. Just some names down there to look at. So just thought we would look at that. Any goalies? I just want to see here. because usually they do not put the goalies on this list. Curtis McElhenney, former Flame, calling it a career. So just a quick look there at the retired players. Coach retirements. All right, so we have a bunch of coaches. The following coaches have retired in this league. So we are on there. Is that our head coach that retired? Must be. It must be our head coach. So that's a lot of coaches retiring. But yes, that is our coach, Marco Membus, Calgary Flames. So I don't know if that's our head coach or if that's an assistant coach. Like I don't think because you know what, we didn't look a lot at our coach this year. We looked at him in episode 1, and I forget what his name was. I forget if that's our head coach. It very well could be. So that'd be interesting if it is, because what I was going to say is continue simming here. What I was going to say with the coach, I wasn't going to get to in probably this episode, but what I was going to say is, I mean, we weren't going to fire our head coach just because we lost him. I know it looked bad in the last episode that we got swept by the Ducks and we couldn't make it out. Like, we did make it past the first round, but we couldn't make it out of the second round. And I know the way that ended obviously would probably leave quite a sour taste in the Flames organization and a lot of the fans, because again, it's Anaheim. We can't make it past the playoffs. Second straight year of playoff disappointment, and our window is starting to close, and this and that. So I wasn't going to make a coaching firing just because of that, because we did still finish first in the West for a second straight year. We won our second straight Pacific Division title. We're just not having a lot of success when it comes to the postseason. So I wasn't going to fire our coach for that. The only thing I did not like about our coach is the fact that he runs 4 lines, and I was thinking with our lineup, I don't know if we can go look at our lineup right now, but I was thinking with the way our team is constructed, yeah, we can't really look at our lines right now, but the way our team is constructed, I was kind of thinking that we might want to play our top 6 a little bit more than our bottom 6. So we might want a coach now that plays a little bit more top 6 heavy versus rolling all 4 lines. And obviously our coach, our current coach in the NHL, did just that. So we actually can look at the coaches, can't we? Yeah, coaching staff. Why, it's the number one right there. So yeah. So we without a head, no, there's our NHL head coach, B. Fucali. So that's who I thought it was. So this is our head coach. So that other guy that retired must have been an assistant coach. We got an NHL associate coach and NHL assistant coach. We still have our AHL head coach, AHL. So maybe it was our NHL goaltending coach, because I don't see our NHL goaltending coach there. So I don't know. I don't know who that guy that retired was. He wasn't our head coach. This was our head coach, was B. Fucali. I forgot what his name was. Yeah, this guy, Brendan Fucali. So this guy did pretty well. I wasn't going to fire him just because we didn't make it past the second round. He had an incredible regular season with his team. Did really well in obviously his first year at the Flames. Really good chemistry with a lot of the players. So I had no problem with this guy at all, but you can see here at the very bottom there in the middle, he rolls all 4 lines and rolls all defensive pairings, and that was the one thing, I don't mind his style. I don't know if it worked or not. It got the job done in the regular season when it comes to the style and the way he plays, but the fact that he rolls all 4 lines, that definitely played out, because we obviously know that our top 6 guys maybe didn't get as much ice time, and that's why the scoring was a little bit more spread out. So I thought that was interesting about the coach. I wasn't going to get into it now, but when I saw our one coach retire there, I thought I'd quickly mention it. So I think the plan is to keep our head coach for now, but going into next season, and again, this is early, things could change, but going into next season, maybe we'll keep a shorter leash on him, and just see if maybe we need to get a coach that rolls more of a top 6 heavy team. It also depends on how we construct our team this offseason. Let's see what we do. So enough of that anyways. Let's go to this draft interview thing here. Again, I don't know where we're picking, so this is going to be hard. There's Alexis Lafreniere, obviously going number 1 overall. I guess we can interview 3 players in this new interview process. The only problem, again, is I don't know where we're picking. We're not picking in the first round, so it's not going to be any of these guys here. Like, there's Quinton Bayfield. Like, these guys are all going in the top round. So I don't know. I don't know how far down this list I would have to go to start interviewing players. I guess we can go by what the scoutings are ranking them. But these probably aren't too accurate. So central scouting, let's go by this. All right, so we'll go by, this is Central Scouting, and this is, I don't know what scouting that is, but this is what Central Scouting, I believe this is Central Scouting. So this is what they have them listed as. So let's go down to at least past number 30, because there's a good chance that most of these guys are going in the first top round. So again, we're probably not picking until the later of the second round, but we can start interviewing players down here. So who do we want to start interviewing here? So let's go a little further down. Let's go 40 and after, just so we have a good idea, because we're probably not going in the top 10 of the second round. So let's start from 40. So this guy is a right winger, 6'1". This guy is a right winger, 5'11", a centerman. Like, what do we want to draft? Right now, we probably, like, again, these players are not going to be a part of our team in the next 3 years or in the next 2 years. These are just guys for the future. Here's a left winger. Let's start with this guy. Again, I'm just really picking random players right now. 6'3" though. He plays for the Windsor Spitfire. So let's interview this guy here. Chance we could probably take him. So interview player. All right. So Will Cully. Is it just Cully, or I'm not sure, but we got 3 questions we can ask him. So let's chat about his skills first. So let's chat about your skills. Tell me, what do you consider your greatest strength? What would you think is your biggest weakness? I want to know what his biggest strength is. So he is going to say, I got my skating. I think I'm faster than most, and can accelerate quickly and can turn on a dime. So this guy is a skater. So that's and again, he's a left winger. So that's not too bad. Let's go new topic here. Let's go to playing style. Let's ask him, how ready do you think you are to play in the NHL? Can you give me a quick breakdown of how you play on the ice? Let's see how ready he is for the NHL, just so we have an idea here. To be honest, I feel I need a few more seasons. Okay, that's fair. And then last but not least, we'll ask him about personality here. And what would you describe your personality? Let's do that for our last question. I am a professional and get along with everyone. All right, so goodbye. And we'll end the interview. So just a quick look there. Again, this I feel like so here we go. NHL ETA next 3 years. His strength is skating, and he's a professional. So that's great to know. So Will Cully, again. Cully, I think it's just Cully. There's a double L in his name. I don't know. Left winger, not bad from the Windsor Spitfire, but again, this is a guy might keep our eye on in the second round. But again, I feel like this thing is more this draft interview process is more designed for if you're drafting in the first round. Once you get into the second round or into the later rounds, it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly where you're going to be. Again, let's just pick this next guy here. We'll just pick 3 guys randomly here around where we think we're gonna draft and just interview them, just so we can kind of explore this process for the next few years. So let's ask him much of the same here. Let's ask him what his strengths are. This guy here. So again, he's going to say skating, exact same thing as the last guy. Let's go to topic here. Playing style. How ready do you think you are for the NHL? I'm still at least a few years away. Okay, that is fine. And again, let's ask him personality. So we'll just go with the same questions for all 3 guys here. High standards for myself and my team. I want to win at all costs. So that's pretty good. You want to see that. You want to see a guy that is a team guy and wants to win, obviously. So we'll end this interview here with Simon Kerbeck. I believe his name is. Simon Kerbeck. He is a defenseman with the Seattle. Oh my God. I was going to say Seahawks. The Seattle Thunderbirds. There we go. Oh my God. All right. So passionate is a big personality trait. Obviously, you look for in any guy. ETA of another 4 years again. That's what I'm saying. These guys are pretty far away from the NHL. And skating is his strength as well. So a puck moving a skating defenseman, that'd be nice to see. They're listing as an AHL top 2 defenseman. So maybe not what we were looking for if he's just got AHL top 2 potential. But again, Will Cully, they're listing him as an elite medium, so that's not bad. I mean, if nobody else interviews this guy and we could take him in the second round, I think he's going to go a lot higher though if that's what he's listed as. But Central Scouting has him at 43, so that's weird. Let's finish with right winger here, Ozzy Wisbolt from the Prince Albert Raiders. And again, there's a good chance all three of these guys are gone by the time we draft. Again, I have no clue. We're drafting in the second round. So same thing. We'll ask him the exact same 3 questions here. Strength. It's got to be his skating again. Okay, so all 3 guys say that their strength are skating. Excuse me. So that's interesting. But again, the game is getting faster. That's sometimes what you're looking for. So, as we move forward, maybe that's what we're looking for. How ready do you think you are in the NHL? Probably at least a few years away. Yep, expected that. And personality. Again, most guys after the second round should be at least a few years away. There's going to be very few guys that are NHL ready. Anyway, personality. Let's see what he says. Same thing as the first guy. So that he is a professional. So. Just interesting there. Thought we would take a look at it there. The new draft interview process here in NHL 20. This guy's a right winger. ETA 3 years, strength skating and professional for Aussie. So that's interesting to see. They also have him listed or potential now at elite medium. So again, I don't know how this works. This new system works because they're elite mediums. Will they go higher? Central Scouting has them here, but also what other teams have interviewed these guys? Because if there's teams that are going to be picking ahead of us and they see that they're elite medium potential, they'll be picking them. This Simon Kerbeck, the fact that he's only AHL top 2, I don't think we're going to want to take him. That's his potential. He does have high AHL top 2 potential, but we're looking for NHL players right now that are going to be on our team in the future, not AHL players. So that was interesting. I just thought we would do that quickly. It's a new feature. Yeah, let's move on here. So, I guess can we do more? We do more draft interviews? I guess we could. But we're just going to do 3 because again, I have no clue where we're picking. So, I thought we'd just try that out, but I don't know if we could. I thought you could only do 3, but maybe not. All right, so let's get to the draft here. So it is draft day in the NHL. For the Calgary Flames and for the rest of the league. Like I said, we don't have our first round pick. I guess I kind of talked about it without saying it. If you didn't watch the trade deadline episode, we traded our first round pick to the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for Max Domi. Obviously, we sent first Tyler Parsons, Adam Ruzicka, and a third in next year's draft for Max Domi, who came into our top 6, obviously. So we were without our first round pick, but we have our second round pick in this year's draft. Third round pick, I believe. I believe we have every pick this year. We'll have to look when we get to the draft here. So let's get right to the floor. And again, we'll probably make our pick in the second round just because we did that interview process. But we're not gonna. We'll probably put on the auto draft after that. So I guess we should probably look at where we're picking here. So draft picks. All right, so yeah, there it is, 58th overall. So yeah, I think we were interviewing way too high. We were interviewing in the 40s, I think it was, closer to 40 to 45 than we were to 60. So we don't draft till 58th overall. Then we have our third round pick. We don't have our fourth, but we have 2 fifths. That was the thing. We have 2 fifths. We got this fifth from Minnesota in the trade in episode 1 when we sent John Gillies to the Minnesota Wild. And then we have our 6th and our 7th. So we basically have every pick except for our 4th, but 2 fifths in this year's draft. So, and obviously not our first. So we'll be picking 6 times in this draft. I'm not looking to make any trades here on the floor. Obviously, I don't see a point in making a trade. I think we want to kind of look at how our team's going to be constructed when it comes to the re-signing phase. We got a lot of let's take a look quickly at our expiring contracts. Let's go to all skaters, just so we have a quick look before we get to the re-signing phase, which is going to be the next thing here. So let's go. Yeah, years left. Sorry. So these are the guys on expiring contracts. Excuse me. So Rasmus Anderson is on an expiring contract, I believe, as is Oliver Shillington, as is Max Domi, but Max Domi's been extended for another 2 years after that, as you can see right there. So we don't have to worry about Domi, but I believe Anderson, Shillington, Andrew Mangiapane, Mark Jankowski. So these are guys, Glenn Godden, a prospect, TJ Brody, Travis Hamnick. So these guys are all expiring this year. So we either re-sign them in the next re-signing phase, or we move on from them. And we talked about Brody and Hamnick being the biggest ones there. And you could see the cap hit of Brody and Hamnick. If we move on from both of these players, that's going to free up a lot of cap space. We talked about it in the last episode. We'll talk about it again though as we get to the re-signing phase. So Fantenberg, Zarnik, there's quite a few guys here, and then a bunch of prospects down here. Michael Stone, his money comes off the book, or at least his. I guess we bought him out, but his $700K comes off the book. Michael Frolik comes off the book, and then that's it. The rest have 1 year remaining. So, so some big contracts between Brody, Frolik, and Hamnick coming off the book, but we also have to re-sign Anderson and Shillington and Mangiapane. So some big contracts coming up. Mark Jankowski is going to be the interesting one because, again, depending on how we construct our team here going forward, I find it funny because we're on like 20 seconds on the clock till the Detroit Red Wings pick Alex Lafreniere first overall, and we're talking about our team. We were technically in the trade window with the Detroit Red Wings. So, you know what? I'm not going to talk about our team anymore because I want to talk about it in the next window on how we're constructing our team going forward. I was kind of talking about it a little bit there, but let's get off this trade screen here. So, let's sim up to our second round pick because again, we don't pick till 58. So sim to pick 58. Let's just see if any of those guys are left that we wanted to take. So. Here we are. We're now in the second round. Let's see if any of those guys went. I don't see any of the guys going in the second round here. There goes Sean Kerbeck, or Simon Kerbeck, sorry. He went in the second round, 14th pick. What is that overall? Doesn't say what it is. I don't know, it doesn't say. But he goes to the Carolina Hurricanes. So there goes Will Cully, though. He does go to the Montreal Canadiens, so yeah, I think we were interviewing way too high. And where's the final guy that we interviewed? I don't see him. Unless I missed him. Unless he went in the first round. Might have went in the first round. I don't see him. Unless he went. If he's here in the second round, he had elite medium potential. Let's see. Yeah, I don't even see him here at all. Now that we sort by, so he must have won in the first round. So another team must have interviewed him and seen that he won in the first round. So let's just go by potential here. So we got a couple elite highs, elite medium here, elite medium. Again, I don't think these are verified because we didn't interview these players, so that's not exactly the way they're going to turn out. Central Scouting has this guy at 97. He is a right winger, 6'4", so he's a pretty big right winger. I wouldn't mind that, actually, to be honest. 20 goals, 7 assists in 64 games played with the Barrie Colts. We have a defenseman here in Gregory Wood, 6'1", played in Russia last year. We got another defenseman here, 6'1". This is tough. Again, we don't know how these guys are going to turn out because we didn't interview them. So I think it's really just a shot in the dark when it comes to this draft right now. So let's just take this guy here. He's a right winger, Riley Piercy. Let's just see how he turns out. So we'll make this as our second round pick, and he's got bottom 6 forward potential. Fuck. So that's unfortunate. Obviously, he wasn't elite high like it said, but bottom 6. Bottom 6 is still not bad. He's got high bottom 6 potential. I mean, if this guy plays in our bottom 6, middle 6 in the NHL in the future, that's not a bad second round pick. Again, we had a lot of good history when it comes to drafting from the Barrie Colts in the second round. I think we drafted both Rasmus Anderson and Andrew Mangiapane from the Barrie Colts a few years back in the second round. So that's not a bad team to draft from. The way those players turned out, but again, that does not affect this game. So I think we'll just sim the rest of this draft now because really there's no point. Again, we didn't interview any other players. And I think that's more designed for drafting early on. So there is our look at our 6 players. Again, Riley Piercy, our second round pick, and then we drafted a few more players there. I have no clue who they are or what they do, but hopefully they turn out to be good picks for us. So there is a trade alert to announce. I guess this probably happened on the floor. The Islanders traded their second-round pick in the 2020 draft to Ottawa for the second-round pick in the 2020 draft and a fourth. So they're probably just moving up and down. That's not really something you had to announce. Here's another one. Second from Detroit to San Jose for Matthew Perreault and a third. Again, that's probably just some positioning there. So a couple trades going down on the floor, nothing major. And that is that. So we officially have done the draft. The Flames drafting 6 players, like I said, and now it's time to get up to the re-signing phase. So this is where things are going to get interesting here. So yeah, let's get right into it. Day number 1 of the re-signing phase. Like I said, we got a lot of big decisions ahead of us here. So let me take a drink of water because I think this is going to be a pretty big section here of this episode. All right, so yeah, so I think this is going to be pretty big. So let's go to contracts here. So, like I said, we'll probably do this here in this episode, and then we'll jump to a free agency in the next episode. But let's get our team sorted out going into free agency, so we know what we're going in with. And like I said, we have a few players we need to sign in the re-signing phase here. So here's a look at our top players. I guess this is going by overall. I'm just trying to look here. Okay. Yeah, so this is a look at our top players. Let's go by who we have on expiring contracts. Let's go all skaters. Let's go. First of all, we'll go with UFAs. So again, TJ Brodie, Travis Hamonic, Michael Frolik, Michael Stone, Austin Czarnik, Oscar Fantenberg, Alan Quine, Brandon Davison. So a lot of players down here that are UFAs. So these are the guys you would have to sign if you want to re-sign them before obviously the end of this episode. So first things first is let's just take a quick look at who our RFAs are. So there's Rasmus Andersson, Mark Jankowski, Andrew Mangiapane, Oliver Shillington. So of these guys, or the RFAs, excuse me, it's the top 4 guys that we're probably looking, maybe minus Mark Jankowski. But these are the guys we're looking to resign for sure. Are these guys, and the guys in the UFA category are really the guys we're probably not going to be bringing back. Like I don't believe we're bringing back Stone, Frolik, or Brodie. The only one is maybe Travis Hamonic. We'll see what he's asking for here. But obviously I want to get Anderson and Shillington done first. So again, if you didn't watch I don't know what episode it was, it might have been, we talked about it maybe in the last episode or the episode before, but the way we are constructing our defense for the future with the emergence of Juuso Välimäki, Rasmus Andersson, and Oliver Shillington, I think we're going to move on for both Brodie and Hamonic. What we're going to do is we're going to go Giordano, Anderson next year as our top pairing, maybe something like Hanifin, Välimäki as our second pairing, and then Shillington, and we would need to find a sixth defenseman. Sorry, but we have the ability that Juuso Välimäki, Rasmus Andersson, and even Oliver Shillington in the American League made a lot of progress this season, and they're still growing. So these guys can replace Brodie and Hamonic, and obviously give us a better, younger defensive core is what I'm trying to say. But basically, we have the ability to move on from Brodie and Hamonic. So first, let's just look there at our players. You'll notice a lot of it has to do with defense when it comes to this re-signing phase. We do have a few forwards in here. Like I said, Austin Czarnik that we might want to take a look at, see if we want to bring him back. He was a good 13th forward for us. Alan Quine, a good American Hockey League forward for us. And when it came to the RFA category, maybe bring back Mark Jankowski, depending on what he's asking for. But again, if you didn't watch the last few episodes, it's hard to show you right now because I can't show you our lines on the screen. If I could show you our lines on the screen, it'd be much easier to explain. But the way we're constructing our team going forward when it comes to our forwards, we're going to go with probably Monahan and then Domi as our second centerman down the middle, and then Backlund as our third centerman. So if we do that, because we want Domi to play with Kachuk, so if we do that down the middle, then that obviously bumps Mark Jankowski and Derek Ryan. Now, I would probably prefer Mark Jankowski over Derek Ryan, so we might still try and re-sign Jankowski. If not, we're going to at least qualify him because he is an RFA, and then we'll make a decision when we get to free agency. But let's start with the re-signing players. I just want to quickly look at goalies because they don't put the goalies on this screen. So Zagadulin is an RFA, so we have to get Zagadulin signed. He's our top prospect goaltender. one of our top 2 prospect goaltenders other than Dustin Wolf. And Cam Talbot is also a UFA. Now, we're going to go forward with Riddick. We can easily find another backup, but we'll see what Talbot is asking for. So we have 2 goalies to look at. Definitely want to get Zagadulin done, and then a bunch of defensemen. Let's start with the goalies because we're on the screen. So let's see what Zagadulin wants here to stay in the organization. 2 years at $875, 2-way contract. That's perfect. I'm fine offering that. He is our prospect goalie. Still has to probably grow for at least another 2 years anyway, so we can see how well he grows in the next 2 years in the American League. So that's an American League contract right there. So that's fine. Let's see what Cam Talbot's asking for to stay as our backup. Remember, he's going to be our backup. David Riddick played about 70 games, I believe it was, and was our solid #1 goalie. We're going to go forward with Riddick. So whatever Talbot's asking for, it's got to be backup money. So let's see what he's asking for. 1.5 for 1 year. That's not bad. You know what? I'm going to offer him that because, you know what? He was a pretty reliable backup for the most part. He did his job. I mean, that's all you could ask for out of your backup goalie. He came in and he did his job. 81 exact. He's probably not going to go down because he's only 32, but obviously he's not going to go up in overall either. So if he stays at a 31 or 31 and 81 and on a 1 year contract, that's not bad. Just 1 year left of 1 more year with Talbot. That's actually a pretty fair contract for both the team and the player. So let's offer him that. I have no problem offering Cam Talbot as our backup, that as a contract. And then we can explore our goaltending situation again a year from now. So let's go back to all skaters and look at our first things first. So we're going to look at our biggest players we want to get done, and that is our RFAs. So the biggest one is Rasmus Andersson. He is #1. So let's offer Rasmus Andersson a contract, and yes, of course, he wants the most money. So again, he's jumping from our 5th defenseman to our into a top 2 position with Mark Giordano. So he has got top 4 high potential. In the long run, I think Juuso Välimäki might surpass him. Although Välimäki is a left shot and Andersson's a right shot. So no, in the long run, I feel like Rasmus Andersson could be a top 2 defenseman for us in the NHL. So yeah, you know, I don't have a problem offering him this contract. 5 years at 4.8 it's not too bad. That's basically just taking over the money that TJ Brody was making. So that's not too bad. I'm going to try and bring it down just a little bit. See if maybe he'll go for 4.5. Just a little bit. 1 year, a one-way score, sorry. But 5 years, we're getting a lot of term out of Rasmus Andersson. Only 23 years of age. That will obviously take us till he is, 27, 28. So that's not too bad. So I like the term. Let's see if we can just get that money down just a little bit. 4.5 for 5 years. We'll see what Andersson says. Next is Oliver Shillington. Again, another guy that is going to be in our top 4, if not at least our top 5 going forward. Offer him a contract as well, depending how much this guy can grow. So he's asking for just 1 year at 9. So he's basically asking for another AHL contract. I wanted a little bit more term with Oliver Shillington. But this is a guy that I see being a full-time NHLer next year. But you know what? We haven't had a look at Shillington in the NHL full-time. He is still only 78. You know what? This is a fair contract too. I think it's the fact that he's still on a 2-way. We have the option to keep him in the American League or call him up. But again, I feel like he is going to be a full-time NHLer. 1 year, again, I wanted a little bit more term, but he's basically asking for a show me now contract. Basically, see what he can do in his first full year in the NHL, which will be next year, and does he make a massive jump? Because 78 overall is not that great. We need this guy to jump quite a bit if we expect him to be a full-time NHL, especially in our top 4. Going forward. Like again, if it's long-term plan with our defense is Välimäki on the left side, Andersson on the right side on our top unit, and then Hanifin maybe on our left side and Shillington on our right side on our second pair. So again, if he's going to be a top 4 for us for a long time to come, we obviously want him to make a massive jump. So this is a good show me year for him. I think it's fair. Keeps the salary down. It gives us the opportunity to go out and get some other players with our salary this year and try and win the Stanley Cup now. Keeps them on a low contract, whereas Andersson's looking for term and money. But let's offer Shillington exactly what he's asking for. Andrew Mangiapane, our next player we want to get done. Again, this is a guy that put up, he put up like 26 goals last season. Let's just take a look here at his stats. 28 goals, yeah, sorry. So he almost hit the 30-goal plateau. This is the thing you need to remember about Andrew Mangiapane. Yes, he played in our bottom 6 all year, but he put up 28 goals as a third liner. That's not bad. Only 9 assists, but this guy's a pure sniper. He's a pure elite goal scorer for us. He's a good depth scorer. We might even put him on the second line with Kachuk and Domi next year. If not, he's on the third line with Backlund next year. If we do that thing in the middle there with Monahan, Domi, and Backlund. So either way, Mangiapane is going to either be a third line or a second line player for us next year. Again, only 79 overall, but if he can grow a little bit and jump up, and again, it doesn't matter if he is 79. If he's putting up 28 goals for us per season, I don't care what he's rated. He's putting up 28 goddamn goals. That's pretty good. So he's probably going to ask for quite a bit, I'm expecting. But again, he could be a top 6 forward for us going into next year. So let's see what he's asking for here. So yeah, he's asking 2 years at 4.3. Again, I wanted a little bit more term with Andrew Mangiapane. That will take him till he's 26, and then he'll probably plateau at 26. So that's not bad because in 2 years we'll have a good idea if he's going to stay a legit top 6 forward, or if he's only a third line forward. So that's not too bad, and we'll see if he can duplicate maybe his 28 goals was a fluke. Maybe that was just a fluke year, but if he duplicates that in the next 2 years straight, then he's going to be looking for a much bigger contract. But we'll give him that. We'll give him exactly what he's asking for. The thing with all these players is I want to make sure we bring them back. Mangiapane, Anderson, Shillington, no matter what, I want to bring these guys back. So at the end of the day, they almost have the leverage over us because I want them back on this team. We're not going to just be like, oh, well, you're asking for too much, we're going to move on. We can't afford that. We're already moving on from so many players that you'll see here in a second. So we have to bring these guys back in a way. But again, we're not just going to pay them like crazy amounts of money just because that's what they're asking for. We still have to kind of, that's why with Anderson, I'm trying to bring the salary down a little bit, but it's going to be tough. Let's see what Jankowski's asking for. This is probably going to be our 4th line center next year, especially if we find a way to move on from Derek Ryan. Derek Ryan's making about 3-point-some million. I'd love to move his contract out and keep Jankowski on the 4th line instead. He's asking for 1.6 for 2 years. That's a little bit much for a 4th line center, so I'm going to try and bring him down. I'm going to try and bring Jankowski down to 1.2. 1.2 for 2 years on a one-way contract. Again, project Jankowski as a 4th line center, maybe a 3rd line center, but I feel like we want to be deeper down the middle with Monahan, Domi, and Backlund, and even Elias Lindholm can move to the middle as well. We have a lot of options with players that can move to the middle instead of having Jankowski or Ryan playing as a 3rd line center. I'm probably projecting Jankowski as a 4th line center and moving on from Derek Ryan. So again, you don't want to be paying your 4th line center. Generally, you don't want to pay them over $1 million, but 1.2 is not too bad. We'll see what Jankowski says about that contract. So that's just a look at our 4 guys that we have just offered contracts from our NHL team. There's a few guys down here that we're going to offer contracts from our AHL team as well, but we'll worry about them in a second. Let's go to our UFA screen quickly. Just taking a look here. So it depends, obviously, what Anderson, Shillington, and Valimaki does, but do we bring back one of Brody or Hamnick? It would probably be Hamnick over Brody, even though Brody is an 84, Hamnick's an 83. Hamnick is a defensive defenseman, and that's what I like the most. Top 4 defensive defenseman. Let's just go here. Attributes. Yeah, there he is. Defensive defenseman. Just looking at his defensive stats in the bottom left. 88 defensive awareness. Shot blocking 90. Stick checking 90. When you look at TJ Brody, 87 defensive awareness, 87 and 88. So Hamnick's slightly better there in the defensive category. Brody is a better passer, puck controller. Much better when it comes to puck skills. Is a slightly better shooter, and I'm just looking here. Hamnick is a little bit more aggressive than Brody. And skating, Brody should obviously be better skating. Yeah, so, I mean, Brody's still the better defenseman. I guess it's really who's asking the most. Who's asking for the most money, because two-way defenseman's not bad. Again, this is not real life. If this is real life, I think for sure they keep Hamnick over Brody. But I don't know. I think we should try and keep one of these guys. Just for insurance policies, because again, we are planning to roll with Valimaki, Anderson, Shillington, our top 4, and Hanifin and Giordano as our top 5. But in case one of those guys gets injured, plus the fact that we need a steady 6th defenseman, we're not bringing back Michael Stone, and Anderson and Shillington are moving up. We need that steady 6th defenseman, and Brody and Hamnick, I mean, we know what they can be. They got the job done in the regular season. It's just about playoffs. I'm going to try and bring one of these guys back. I think we'll see what they're both asking for. So let's see what Brody's asking for first. So 6 years at 5.4. See, I don't want to pay Brody that. Again, these guys are going to be in our bottom 6 going forward. So I don't like the term, and I don't like the money. What is Hamnick asking for? 4 years at 4.6. That's a little bit better. Less term and less money. Oh, can we... So I think we'll try and keep Hamnick then over Brody. We'll probably send Brody to free agency. Can we bring Hamnick's salary down a little bit? Can we bring him down to... We'll start him at 4.2. He was asking for 4.6. Yeah, we'll start him at 4.2. I'll give him the years he wants. 4 years. He's, what, 29? I'll take him into his 30s, but it's not too bad. It would be a movable contract as well. Yeah, let's try that. Hamnick and Brody, I think we will send to free agency. For Leak, we will also probably move on from 81 overall, but at 32 years of age, I just don't see this guy getting much better. We can probably find better depth guys. And then we also have the emergence of guys like Dylan Dubé, who are going to be stepping into our bottom 6 as well. So again, pitcher for Leak as a third-line right winger, maybe a fourth-line right winger for us next year, when we could have a guy like Dylan Dubé fill that same spot for less. So let's probably move on from him, and as well as Stone. Let's see what Zarnik's asking for, because again, Zarnik was a good 13th forward for us. He's asking for pretty much an AHL contract, so we'll give him that. We can bring him back. Oscar Fantenberg, do we want to bring this guy back in the A? He's asking for a 2-way contract as well, so yeah, we can bring him back on a 1-year contract. Pretty good for us in the American League. We need these guys down there. Brendan Forbes, let's see what he's asking for. Yeah, so we'll bring him back. Alan Quine. See, Quine's asking for an NHL contract now, 2 years at 1.2. So I don't want to bring him back just yet. Again, want to see what we do with Jankowski and our other centermen. So we'll skip on Quine for now. Davidson. Yeah, he's asking for a AHL contract, so we'll bring back Davidson. Who else do we have down here? Buddy Robertson, AHL top 6, and this guy here, top 9 potential. This might be one of the guys we just drafted, actually. I don't recognize his name. So let's just give him his contract. Actually, no, he's not. He wouldn't be a UFA if he was. And then finally, let's go back to RFAs here. And just look at who we got left here to offer contracts to. So Glenn Godin, a top prospect for us, will offer him a contract in the American League. Continue to grow him. Nielsen, top 6, sure, we'll offer him a contract. Lomberg, bottom 6, medium potential. Kirkland, let's leave these guys for now because they are our face. So let's see what we get done here. So a lot of contracts we offer there in the first day, technically, if you will. Obviously, the big ones are the ones we're trying to get signed, and then we'll see what all these depth players say. But let's go head a day here and see what we got. So Travis Hamnick, easy decision to renew my contract with you. That's important to me. Forget the duration. So we were actually able to bring him down just a little bit to $4.2 million per year. What was it, 4 years? I should have tried him at $4 million flat. He was asking for 4.6. We did get him down to 4.2, but I should have tried 4 million flat first. I did not think I thought he would want his money, but he's happy to come back. So this is good news for the Flames. We brought back Travis Hamnick, a steady defensive defenseman. Again, this is going to be a guy in our bottom 6. Not happy about paying him, north of $4 million to be in our bottom 6. But I mean, if he gets the job done, the fact that also we have Oliver Shillington and Yusuf Alamaki also still on minor league contracts is pretty good, and we're projecting them to be in our top 4. So good to see Hamnick coming back. Talbot also comes back as our backup. So again, a pretty fair contract, I thought, for Talbot on a 1-year contract with us coming back. That's pretty good to see. Oliver Shillington's coming back, so that's really good. One of the players we wanted to make sure we got done. So again, he's just on a show me contract, 2 years for Oliver Shillington. still on basically a two-way contract. See what he can do in the next 2 years. Really needs to make that jump, but we're going to give him that opportunity to do that in the NHL and really grow. 23 years of age still for Shillington, so that's pretty good to see. Andrew Mangiapane, he has decided to come back, so he, like I said, that's a pretty good contract. He's going to fit right into our top six, potentially, if not at least our third line. But again, 28 goals last year. Let's hope that's not a fluke. Again, he's only on a 2-year contract, so again, if it does not work out with Mangiapane, we can move on from him in 2 years, but he'll have an opportunity to prove himself in the next 2 years. Again, only 24 years of age. A lot of these guys are still really young. So they're just trying to show what they prove what they can be. Rasmus Andersson has come back. Yes, that's what I wanted to see. So again, we got Rasmus Andersson down just a little bit. I forget what his contract, what he was asking for, but the big thing was the term. I think we got him for 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go back and look at it. 23 years of age. Again, this is a guy that could be a top 2 defenseman in the future. Huge for us to get Rasmus Andersson back. Austin Czarnik has decided to come back as a 13th forward. That is good to see. Mark Jankowski, he has decided not to. Although I'm interested in the principle of the extension, I'm going to reject this offer. So we try to bring Jankowski down in value just a little bit to 1.2. I think he was asking for 1.4, 1.6 was it? We brought him down to 1.2 million. Again, I don't want to be paying my fourth line center that much. So we'll have to see what Jankowski says. I'm just thinking here. Oscar Fantenberg, he's decided to reject the contract. He decided to test the free agent market and see if he can make some more money. So that's fair. Here's a guy that we just claimed off of waivers from the Vancouver Canucks this past offseason. Did spend the year with us in the previous season, before this season, in 2018-2019, but he wants to go to free agency. That's fair. He was just an AHL defenseman, a good depth defenseman, but an AHL defenseman. So we can find more of those in free agency ourselves. Brendan Forbes has decided to reject the renewal. He wants to test the free agent market as well. Again, another AHL player. Brandon Davison has also decided to reject. That's too bad because now our defense has really taken a hit in the American League. Glenn Godin has decided to renew his contract, so one of our top prospects is coming back. That's good to see, as is Andrew Nielsen. He's a defenseman, so he'll probably be our top defenseman now in the American League with Shillington coming to the NHL and guys like Davidson and Fantenberg deciding to go to free agency. So good to see him come back. And there's Artem Zagadulin. Huge to get our top goalie prospect back as well. So that's what you want to see. There's Milos Roman. It's been a dream of him to join the team. He will not let us down. So it looks like he was a prospect for us with the Vancouver Giants. It looks like we just offered him a contract now. So that is good to see. So there you go. A lot of good came from that first day of contract renewals. The only glaring one would be a few AHL players like Davidson and Fantenberg and guys like that deciding to go to Brendan Forrest, deciding to go to the free agency, and the biggest one, Mark Jankowski, decided to reject our contract offer. But we do bring back Travis Hamonic, we do bring back Rasmus Andersson, Oliver Shillington, Andrew Mangiapane. So a lot of big players coming back for us here. So just let's take a look now at our cap hit for next year. So there's Domi with his new contract kicking in at 8.3. There's Tkachuk at 7 mil. That's a lot for 2 players on the second line, but again, we're gonna have about 2 first lines, almost the way it's working out. Goodrow, his contract looks so good at 6.7 for 2 years, 91 overall. Giordano there as well. Monahan. Backlund, we still have Milan Lucic. Here's the thing: is we can try and buy out Lucic. I don't know if that's going to help us a lot, though. We might have to, though, as we really get close to the cap crunch. No Hannafin, Elias Lindholm, 4.8, and then there's Rasmus Andersson, 4.5. So yeah, that's not bad. 4.5 for 5 years of Rasmus Andersson. That's really good. I'm really happy with that contract. Andrew Mangiapane, 4.3. Again, this guy could be in our top 6. Only 2 years, though. Not bad. Travis Hamonic, 4.2. That's pretty good for 4 years, I believe it was. Not too bad. Again, a movable contract if we have to, but a steady 6 defenseman for us. There's Derek Ryan at 3.1. I wouldn't mind trading his contract for sure when it comes to free agency, and that'll obviously be in the next episode because we're getting pretty tight here in this episode. Yeah, I wouldn't mind moving on from Derek Ryan, and it looks like we might be moving on from Mark Jankowski as well. And if that's the case, we'll just have to go to free agency and find a fourth-line centerman, a cheap fourth-line centerman, if you will. Sam Bennett, 2.5, not bad. And then Shillington there on his 1-year contract. And then onward. So not too bad, not too bad. How much salary cap space do we have left? Salary cap. Where's our cap space? Yeah, so we don't have a lot of cap space. 0.7 to work with. But again, we are going to probably 0.7. Yeah, geez, I thought we had a little bit more. But we brought back mostly everybody we wanted to. So, and we are going to, like I said, we're going to trade Derek Ryan's 3-point-some million, and that might give us a little bit to work with. So, this is hard because, again, I want to look at our lines to see what our lines look like for next year. But I think we're going to end this episode here. What we will do, though, is we'll offer Mark Jankowski one more contract. What we're going to do is we're going to qualify a few of these guys here. So let's qualify this guy. Let's qualify this guy. Lomberg, excuse me. Let's qualify all these guys, because these are guys that could come into the AHL, but I just don't know how much space we're going to have left for these guys. So let's qualify them, and let's offer Mark Jankowski one more contract. I mean, we could qualify Jankowski too. And now he's asking for 2 years at 0.7. Wait, why is he asking for 2 years at 0.7? Oh, because that's all we can offer him. Sorry, yeah, okay. Yeah, so he's obviously, you know what? Let's qualify him. Let's qualify Jankowski, and then we can explore him in free agency. We can either go out and get another centerman, or we can move money and see if we can come back and re-sign Jankowski. But again, it probably won't be higher than 1.2. I'm not going to go up for that from a fourth-line center. But the ability to qualify them is huge. When it comes to the rest of our players, these guys are UFAs. We obviously can't qualify them. We obviously know we're moving on from Brendan Forbes, Oscar Fantenberg, Alan Quine. Now we definitely don't have the money for him, so we'll be moving on from him as well. Brandon Davison wants to go to free agency. Buddy Robertson. And then the big ones, though, are Stone, Frolik, and Brody. A few guys that have spent a long time in this organization. Stone and Frolik, they spent a few years in this organization, really became good players for us, in different roles. But the big one is TJ Brody. This guy was drafted originally by the Calgary Flames. How many years did he spend with the Calgary Flames? Let's just take a quick look here at his career stats. So he was drafted way back. Spent a few years there. Made his debut in 2010 for us. Then played a few seasons since pretty much the 2012 season for us. So a good chunk of seasons here. Almost 10 years for TJ Brody with the Calgary Flames in this organization. But at 30 years of age, I believe it is 30 years of age, it is time to move on from TJ Brody. Unfortunately, we have to move on. We just don't have the ability to bring him back. We just don't have the money, and unfortunately, he's just asking for too much. So we knew this was probably going to be a possibility when it came to TJ Brody, but we are, in fact, for the first time ever, moving on from a long-time Calgary Flame in TJ Brody, and also moving on from Frolik and Stone. So that will do it. We'll let the rest of these guys walk to free agency. We brought back the players we wanted. We have just over 7K to work with. But again, once we get to free agency, we can start making trades and start moving around some money. We know we're going to move Derek Ryan's contract out for sure. It would be a dream to move out Milan Lucci's contract. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen. We can explore it. I mean, we can go to and see if any teams are interested in taking on Milan Lucci's contract. We might have to send a prospect or a pick or something the other way to really sweeten the deal. But if it's not a bad trade, like if it's a prospect that we can afford to move on from, or a draft pick that we can afford to move on from, to free up Lucci's salary, that would be huge if we could get out of his contract somehow. I don't think it's going to happen, but we can explore it in the next video. So what we will do here is we will sim right up to day 1, July 1st of free agency, Canada Day, and see if we can here we go, July 1st, excuse me, and if we can jump into episode 9 there and really start construct. I don't know what I was going to say here. So the end of the re-signing phase, we signed all the players we wanted. Kirkland has decided to come back. It looks like we auto-signed these players, even though I decided to qualify them. All these guys are coming back in the AHL. That's fine. We still qualified Mark Jankowski, though. We'll see what we can do with him. Blah, blah, trading block. Yeah, okay. So there it is. Contract limit wording. All teams must have 50. Yeah, okay. We'll worry about that in the next episode. So there it is, July 1st. It is free agency. There will be some big names on the market. I'm not going to look at them right now because we're really tight for time. But we have constructed our team, and we'll have the ability to continue to construct our team in episode 9.